All right, good morning, everyone. We will get started here by calling the meeting of the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security to order at 11:02. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
I'm present, thank you.
Commissioner Clemente has requested an excuse. Commissioner Dobb.
Here.
Chair Garza.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
B, Chair's remarks.
Just wanted to welcome back our prosecutor, Kim Worthy, to our committee today. Welcome. We'll go to the next item, please.
C, approval of the April 8th, 2026 meeting minutes.
We have a motion by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry, supported by Commissioner Wilson for approval of the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next item, please.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed. Moving on to new business item 1, requesting commission approval of amendment 2 to the fiscal year 2022-23 Burn State Crisis Intervention Program grant agreement with the Michigan Department of State Police Grants and Community Services Division Grants Management Section.
Okay. Can we have someone from Community Corrections for this item? And we will be taking, once we read them in, items 1, 4, and 5 together since they are Community Corrections related.
Good morning, through the chair, Ebony McCann, HHBS Transition Services Division Director. The department before you is a request to modify the current burn grant agreement that we've received from the Michigan State Police for an additional 6 months, so extending the term of the contract through December 31st of 2026. MSP received these funds, and through a subrecipient, they provide gun violence safety prevention classes in the community. So they inform the community of new gun safety laws. They also provide them with gun locks. As we know, gun violence is a huge problem in our community. And so having this partnership with MSP and Michigan United allows us to educate the community regarding the new gun laws.
Excellent. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Thank you. I do have a question, and this is extremely important. I do have a question as it relates to the navigators. I know it states that they would be entrusted community members, but what type of person makes up the right type of person for a navigator?
So I'd have to get the actual specifications from Michigan United, but I do know that these, for the most part, are men and women who have pursued a degree to serve as social workers and or some other criminal justice informed person in the community, and so they participate in these sessions. So they are. They have been in this field for a significant amount of time. They did go through a strenuous hiring process with Michigan United just to make sure that they were a good fit for the community.
Okay, that's helpful. I didn't know if these were just community volunteers or it says entrusted community members. And then one final question through the chair. Under the budget breakdown, the cost for personnel, can you just provide information, if not today, if you can get it back to me on what that looks like, maybe how many people is that? In terms of personnel, and then the indirect costs, what type of things are included in the indirect costs? And that's on the budget breakdown.
Absolutely. I believe that I thought that we sent the actual breakdown, but if not, I'll make sure that you receive it. But
okay. I may have, I looked through, I may have overlooked it.
Yeah, I'll make sure you receive it.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioner comments or questions on this item? All right. Do you have something, Commissioner Dobb?
Just gonna move for approval. Do you want to?
I'm going to take items 4 and 5 as well. If we can go to those, please, next. Thank you.
Moving to item 4, requesting commission approval of the appointment of Sheriff's Commander Derek Lynch to serve as a member of the Community Corrections Advisory Board.
All right.
Good morning again, Ebony McCann. So Commander Lynch is here today. He is the new representative as presented by our sheriff to serve on the Community Corrections Advisory Board. The seat was previously held by Chief Robert Dunlap, and so as a result of that vacancy, Commander Lynch, has been appointed to serve on that board. As you are aware, Commissioner Garza, the Community Corrections Advisory Board is comprised of local criminal justice partners. And per the statute, we are required to have a community corrections advisory board as we receive funds from the Michigan Department of Corrections for our community corrections programs. So the individuals who serve on this board are responsible for identifying trends in the community, determining whether or not our current evidence-based programs are sufficient for men and women who have been sentenced to a term of probation in Wayne County, in lieu of a prison term. So we allow them the opportunity to be rehabilitated in the community. There are some instances where they may have a short jail confinement, but more likely they are not sent to prison, and we provide these programs for them to be rehabilitated and return successfully into our community.
Excellent. Thank you, Ebony, and welcome to Commander Lynch. I think as the chair of the board, we welcome you and definitely look forward to working with you as well. Any feedback from commissioners on this item? All right, Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There wasn't a resume or a CV attached in our analysis for Commander Lynch. Can you give us some information, or can the commander tell us a little bit about his background?
Absolutely.
Professional background.
Sure. Welcome up to the table, Commander Lynch.
Thank you. I have a master's degree in administration, justice, and security. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Derek Lynch.
Yeah, it's on.
My name is Derek Lynch. I'm a commander with the Wayne County Sheriff Department. I started my 29th year in March. I've been with the department for 29 years. I have a master's degree in administration, justice, and security. I work currently in the position of administration commander, and I'm over all the programs within the Wayne County Jail. I deal with the GED programs, the Pathways for Home programs, the Lake Ridge Village programs. Those individuals that come through our jail, we do our best to send them home better than they were than they came. I did submit a resume. I don't know how you didn't get it, but I'm sorry that you didn't receive it. If you need it, I can send it back to you. That's me.
Thank you, Commander.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dobb.
Yeah, if we can get that resume.
Sure. Once we get it, we'll submit it to the committee. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. I appreciate it. All right, next item, please.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of the reappointment of Armand Rashad Harris to serve as a member of the Community Corrections Advisory Board.
Ebony.
Yes, so this is just a reappointment of Mr. Armand Harris, who represents the business sector on the Community Corrections Advisory Board. Mr. Armand Harris is the owner of Jab's Gym in the Eastern Market. So he brings a vast perspective as it pertains to business owners and their ability or desires or what they are looking for when they are hiring individuals who may have a criminal history. Unfortunately, Mr. Harris could not be here today, but he will be present at full board.
Excellent. Any questions or comments from commissioners on this item? All right, I will entertain a motions for items 1, 4, and 5.
Here.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry, supported by Commissioner Dobb, for approval of items 1, 4, and 5. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motions 1, 4, and 5 carry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we will move on to the next item.
Moving back to item 2, requesting commission approval of a sub-grant award agreement with the National Association of VOCA Assistance Administrators for the fiscal year 2026 National Crime Victims' Rights Week Community Awareness Project.
Excellent. Welcome, Tony.
Good morning through the chair. I'm Tony Guerrero, Chief of Legislation, Grants, and Community Relations for Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy. What you have before you is a request for the VOCA Assistance Administrators Grant, $4,996.75 with no county match. This is to fund, this is to fund the National Crime Victims Awareness Project. This will this amount, $4,996.75, will cover the cost of the public awareness campaign that goes along with the National Crime Victims' Rights Week. This was granted exigent approval by Chair Bell, and we're very grateful for that. The problem that we had, and I have to mention it to the committee, the reason this came and required exigent circumstances, exigent approval, is the fact that we can't seem to get the federal government to send the paperwork back when we need it. So I apologize for that, and I hope that that answers any questions there may be.
Thank you, Tony. Commissioner Peterson-Mayberry.
Thank you, Tony. Just a question. So I see the events. One happened on this past Sunday, the 19th, and there's one on the 24th. Do we have any feedback from this past Sunday's event, the Survivor Victim Walk at Belle Isle?
I do not, but Madam Prosecutor may.
Yes, it was covered.
Yeah, come on up to the table, Prosecutor Worthy. It's okay.
I was not there myself. I had a conflict, but it was attended, I think, by about 30 people, which is a very good turnout for this. This is an annual event that we do to bring awareness to crime victims who, as you've heard me say many times, sitting in that seat right there. The trend now is not to really give deference or pay attention to crime victims now. And so this is our attempt. National Crime Victims Awareness Week is something that happens every April of every year. We have an event coming this particular Friday. I will be in Atlanta, but we have stakeholders coming from all over the county. And we bring in victims here. I think our designated speaker, we have one victim speaker that comes every year. So his husband was mauled by a pit bull, by pit bulls that were roaming around in this particular neighborhood. So she's coming to speak. Last year we had a multiple survivor of domestic violence, whose husband almost killed her, and she and her children had to run. That was our speaker last year. So we always bring in a major speaker. Chair Bell usually attends. We also have a representative from the sheriff that will come. Eric Sabri usually comes. This from stakeholders from all over the county will come. DPD is always well represented, as well as some other major police departments. And basically, it's a bill that passed many years ago by Senator Van Riggenmorter, who basically created the Crime Victims Awareness Month and Crime Victims Awareness bills that we still try to adhere to today. So this is simply the recognition of victims of crime in our community.
And thank you, Madam Prosecutor, because we know that oftentimes there's no platform for these individuals and they get together and then they're sharing their stories amongst each other and gaining strength. So it's good to hear that the event on Sunday was successful, and I look forward to the event on Friday.
It was covered by the media. It wasn't as well attended as we'd like, but it was covered
Yeah.
by the media, so it did get the attention that we wanted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any additional commissioner feedback this item? All right, next item, please.
Item 3, requesting commission approval of retroactive amendment 4 to an addendum to a cooperative agreement with LexisNexis Risk Solutions, DBA LexisNexis Risk Solutions, to continue to use the LexisNexis Accurate portal to conduct online research for prosecutor's office investigators. It's a mouthful. Don't put that.
Thank you. Mr. Guerrero.
Morning again, through the chair. I'm Tony Guerrero, Chief of Legislation, Grants, and Community Relations for Prosecutor Kim Worthy. This is a very necessary item. The Accurate portal allows our detectives to essentially locate absconders who have either tried to leave the jurisdiction to avoid prosecution, or perhaps they are witnesses in another case, et cetera, et cetera. This is a little funny one, and I want to point it out. $41,985 is quite comparable. This is a my deal price, so that it's already been vetted throughout the entire state. But the one interesting factor here is this is only going to carry the Accurate program through LexisNexis to the end of this year, December 31st of 2026. The reason for that is LexisNexis hasn't updated their My Deal arrangement beyond December 31st. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because as soon as we get this approved, if you do approve it today and it goes to full board, we will then be looking for LexisNexis to extend their My Deal, and then we'll come back with another request. I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
Thank you, Tony. Any comments or questions from commissioners on this item? All right, looks like you did a good job, Tony. So, all
Thank
right.
you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the fact that you've run through the agenda this quickly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll take we will take items 2 and 3 together, and I'll entertain a motion. Right. We have a motion by Commissioner Wilson, supported by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry for approval of items 2 and 3. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? All right, motions 2 and 3 carry. Thank you. Next item, please.
Moving down to item 6, a general trials division update from Prosecutor Kim Worthy.
All right, welcome Prosecutor Worthy and team.
Thank you. Yeah, so you can see, yeah. You can see here. Okay. Wherever you need to sit to see, Sarah. Thank you for having us back. I feel like we were just here. Well, that was because we were just here. I appreciate the time and attention that you gave us when we came to give you an update on domestic violence and our new Survivors First program that we have kicked into gear. We hope to launch for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we haven't been here before, or I haven't been here before presenting general trials and all the work that they do. So I thought that was important. Oh, my phone is ringing. I thought that was important for you to hear, and it's kind of the nuts and bolts of our office. Most of our cases go through the general trial division, and these are the cases, they're going to tell you about it. These are the cases that are not the homicide, the sexual assault. These are the everyday cases that we see in anywhere from some misdemeanors all the way up to even some homicides they do as well. So Sarah is to my left and your right. She is the deputy chief of the general trial division. And Terry Anderson is immediately to my left and your right. He is the chief of the General Trials Division.
Good morning.
And this is Chris from our LTU unit, who's going to be assisting with our tech, because I know we had some issues last time, so we wanted to do a little bit smoother. We always learn from previous experiences as trial lawyers, so we want to make sure that we get it right. All right, so I'm going to leave it to Sarah and Terry. Oh, the Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Garza is the chair, Commissioner Daub, and Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very nice
Welcome.
to meet you.
And I don't mean to even overlook you at all.
No, please, Zach. Yes.
Nice to meet you.
And the rest of the staff is in here. We are not trying to leave
Yes.
anybody out.
Welcome, everyone.
All right, go ahead.
Very good.
Okay. Oh, fine. All right, go ahead, Terry. Or Terry, who's ever going to start.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having us here this morning. We really appreciate having the opportunity to explain to you what General Trials Division does. Sarah DeYoung and I come to you with a PowerPoint presentation this morning. We want to kind of just give you a general overall view of how the General Trials Division works and what we do.
You should turn on yours.
Just press that button and then,
Yeah,
there you go.
There we go.
You can move it over to you.
Yeah, you can move it over to you. Yeah, there you go.
Good morning. Thank
morning.
you very much for your time. The General Trials Division, we start after the warrant's been signed, the felony case has been heard in the district court. The district court magistrate decides that there's been probable cause established to show that a crime was probably committed and the defendant probably did it. Then it gets bound over to the circuit court. That's where we come in. So we take those cases, once they get arraigned in the circuit court, the judge reads the bound over charges there, and we take everything from the arraignment then down to the sentencing. That would include any kind of plea offer or evaluation for plea negotiations, any kind of motions that would be heard at that moment, or any kind of trial that would happen. So we get all of those cases. And as Prosecutor Worthy said, we have kind of the nuts and bolts of the cases. Anything from a resisting and obstructing, a 2-year high court misdemeanor, all the way up to an assault with intent to murder, capital case like an armed robbery, anything that's not specially assigned that would be like a child abuse case or a homicide, although we do take some overflow homicides from the homicide division.
And I know you've heard me say this a billion times, and I've warned Terry and Sarah both that I will be interrupting sometimes. We do anywhere from 18,000 to 22,000 cases a year. And so it doesn't mean we issue them all, but we generally issue about 2/3 of what the police agencies bring to us. So the bulk of the cases go through the general trial division.
In our general trials division, we are what we call a non-vertical unit, meaning we do not actually charge the case. We have a different unit, our screening division, who charges the case, and we get them after they've been charged. And as Sarah said, goes through the district court and comes to circuit.
Given the high volume of cases that we have several goals that we instruct our APAs that are in the courtrooms every day. Like, this is what we're trying to do. Primarily, we want justice for victims. Absolutely. We are trying to get the right outcome for our victims so that they feel like they've been heard and that they are, if there's restitution involved, then we try to work that out and make sure that they're made whole financially, but also try to get justice for them. We are trying to reduce recidivism. We don't want to see the same people keep coming back through the system. And sometimes that's figuring out programming that they need or any kind of different things to happen so that we don't keep seeing the defendant coming back through. We also want to reduce docket congestion. As Prosecutor Worthy said, we have thousands of cases that come through. There's absolutely no way that we could try them all. So we do try to find ways to reduce the docket so that the APAs can focus on the most important trials or trials that really need to be heard by the community for a community decision. The other part of general trials is that we have a lot of young prosecutors, as you'll see in the presentation as we go through, but we are the training ground so that we can give experience to the younger prosecutors so they gain experience to be able to do more complex cases, homicide cases. They go on from our unit to other units that are more intense.
And that's one of the good things about our unit. We look at our alumni from our department with pride when they go on to another unit and do bigger and bigger things with the office. So we in general trials, we have an assistant prosecutor in every courtroom in the building. We have 23 courtrooms, and each one we have an assistant prosecuting attorney who handles those cases. Just as an overview, we have 5 docket attorneys in our division. And what a docket attorney is the supervisor of a team. We have 5 docket attorneys. Each docket attorney has so many assistant prosecutors that report to them. Docket attorneys are the first ones who see the file. We peruse the file, look at it. We give forth an offer. We put forth a preliminary offer after our review, and those offers are relayed to our assistant prosecutors who relay them in court. We also have 4 lead attorneys. Lead attorneys are quasi-management. They are more experienced attorneys in our division who we charge with going to the courtrooms, actually seeing what our assistant prosecutors are doing. They supervise them, so to speak. They help them with their trials, help them with more difficult cases. They are our eyes and ears in the courtroom. Go ahead.
We also are fortunate enough to have 6 victim advocates who will help both the APAs and the victims navigate what can be a very confusing system, especially for people that aren't used to the criminal justice system or the busyness of the court, or the size of the building, where are we going to park, any kinds of questions about new terminology that our victims are not used to hearing. The victim advocates help us with that, and we have also 2 paralegals to help with some research and writing and any filing of informations or basic things.
So we have the 27 APAs that handle the courtrooms. It also should be noted that the lead attorneys also try cases.
Yes, the lead attorneys do. They try cases, some of our more involved and difficult cases. Thank you, prosecutor.
In looking at ways to reduce the dockets or to end recidivism or figure out what is going to make the entire community better and benefit the community. We do have some specialty courts and programs that are available. We have a mental health court. People with non-assaultive cases that have mental health issues can go to mental health court and get some treatment that way. We have a veterans court that's very active, that if veterans end up in the court system and the case makes sense, that they can get some services through a veterans treatment court. Judge Blount will supervises the veterans court program, and that's a probationary program with a lot of specific services and structure for veterans to go to. We do currently have a sobriety court that is on the books for Wayne County, although there's been they're currently not accepting new applicants for the program because the staffing is low. So there are district courts that are doing sobriety court as well, but the circuit court sobriety court is not taking new applicants at this moment. Prosecutor Worthy's, or our office has a diversion program that is for people with no prior record that are not generally non-assaultive cases. If someone's case goes into diversion, it actually gets diverted out of the criminal justice system. They would stay within the diversion program for a year. Generally, they have to pay back money if there was a restitution issue or something. But if they satisfy the terms of that diversion, their case gets dismissed and they don't end up with a felony record or any kind of a criminal record if they can satisfy that. But that's for lower level cases and nothing assaultive.
And I'm just going to interject since we're talking about diversion. We have actually 12 to 13 diversion programs in my office, and it occurs to me I should have brought that to you as well. So I think we'll come back, or we'll request time to come back to talk about each and every one of those programs. I can tell you, since I've been the elected prosecutor for the last 23 years, that we've diverted over 30,000 people from the criminal justice system with our diversion programs. That's most from the juvenile court, but also through this adult program. Over 30,000 people don't have records because of our programs. Again, lower level crimes. We're not talking about assaultive crimes.
Right.
So Job Court was an innovative program that is currently in existence, but is currently not funded. It was partially funded by the Attorney General's office and by our office. It was the same as diversion, so that anybody that was in Job Court would go out of the criminal justice system. It would be a diversion program, but what they would have to do is they would have to get a job. And the Job Court program had wraparound services to help people get jobs. If they had transportation issues, there would be bus tickets available. We've paid rent for participants for a couple months so that they could get the training they needed or get back on their feet. If they could maintain a job and get through whatever training and other programming the Job Court asked of them, then they would not have a felony at the end of the year program, and they would have a job or some skills. So we are currently not accepting new people into the Job Court program, but we've got some incredible stories that are coming out of that program. We've got a young lady that's in there right now. She entered into the criminal justice system because of a dispute with her mother. She was trying to protect her younger sister from mom's boyfriend. So we put her into the system, and she is thriving. She has gotten her CNA degree. She's got her own apartment now where she's living in a safe place. She is in constant communication with the Job Court program coordinator and is looking to get some additional education to go in a different direction. There was a moment where we did give her rent to cover 1 month, but she's been incredibly motivated, and I think she's going to be wonderfully successful. So there's some great stories coming out of that.
That's great.
So this was actually the brainchild of Dana Nessel. And Wayne County was one of the sites. I think two other, I don't know what 2 other counties were, but we were the most successful county. It's no longer being funded by the AG, but I did put it in my budget request. Just a little plug. So just saying, I put it in my budget request, but if you have any more questions about that later, we can certainly talk about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very successful program. One of the things I remember is that there was one individual who was going into some skilled trades, and the program provided him actually with the tools he needed in order to be successful at his job. So it was a very, very well attended program, and the results were phenomenal.
And we can send you some stories over if you're interested in more stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the committee would welcome that.
This next slide is, did you know that the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, we handle 52% of all the felony cases in the state of Michigan. And I think we have 83 counties in the state, and we do a huge volume of those cases, 52% with the staff that we have.
This, I talked to our stats guy, and we got the numbers from April 1st, 2025 to April 1st, 2026 of the warrants that were submitted. And this is what Prosecutor Worthy was talking about. If you want to click to the next slide. For our division, for the felony cases where we're interested in, there were 31,000 referrals, 27,000 of them were for the adults. There were 16,000 felony referrals for that 1 year period. What was charged ended up being, go ahead and click it again. 9,810 cases. So when you're pulling aside anything that's specially designated from the homicide unit or child abuse, most of those cases are then coming to the General Trials Division.
That's just for general trials, right?
That's total for the office.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Next.
Okay. There was a study done in 2017 that was talking about what the expectations are to prosecute cases well, and how many hours it would take to do those cases well. So for capital cases, the study said that we really need to spend 65.8 hours on anything that's a life offense. So that would be a murder case, assault with intent to murder, armed robbery, anything like that would take about 65 man hours to put that together. And that was a study from 2017. For high severity cases, home invasions, anything that unarmed robberies, anything that was still serious, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, we need about 20.9 hours to put that together. And then the lower severity cases, carrying a concealed weapon, resisting and obstructing, retail fraud, they're recommending 12.8 hours. So doing some math with those 2017 recommendations, Terry and I estimated that we have about 70 cases, all of our APAs have about 70 cases at any given time on their dockets. If we are generous and say that only about 10% of those are capital cases, you're talking about 460 hours just on those capital cases that our APAs need to work on. And then you're also talking, if you say about 30% of those cases are high severity cases, it's another 438 hours for those. And if the remaining 60% are the low severity cases, you're talking about another 537 hours for that. The total for that, if you're looking at a breakdown in that way, is 1,437 hours. But that's not for the year, because Wayne County is also unique in that we have a 90-day trial track. So the 90-day trial track says that once a case is bound over from the district court, the circuit court is expected to try very high percentage, if not all of those cases, within 90 days.
Wow.
And as you can probably tell, that's a daunting task, and some of our judges want to adhere to it strictly to the 90-day trial track period, which is virtually impossible when you really examine what we do.
We have one question for Commissioner Dobb.
So is that just a Wayne County thing, or why do we have that?
Don't get me started on that. It's ridiculous. I've been around a long time. So when I was on the bench, we had this, but it was not so strictly adhered to. And when I say strictly adhered to, improperly strictly adhered to. Because what the judges will do is they will set, and this is nothing I haven't said to them, so I'm not talking out of school. What they will do is they'll set, 5 cases on a Monday. There's no way that one prosecutor can try 5 jury trials on a Monday. So, and they know that's not going to happen. And so oftentimes we are not told which of them they are going to require us to do. So you have one prosecutor trying to get ready for these serious cases on one day, having all the witnesses there. It's just untenable. We've been working with the court about this for a long time. Sometimes it gets better, sometimes it doesn't. But the point is that it's almost impossible to adhere to this. Now, we are not talking necessarily about a homicide cases where we're waiting. I don't want to use a lot of time saying this, but your cell phones, your body cams, all the things we talked about last time I was here, obviously some of those things can't get done within that 90 days. But our DNA is not going to come back. Our forensics not going to come back in some of these cases. But there's still judges that would try to force it to happen, and it's just not going to happen. And what they will do is dismiss the case. And so, again, these are some of the things we're dealing with. And again, this is not saying something I'm saying out of school. I've said this to the whole bench of judges. So we just want you to realize what we're up against.
Sure.
And again, why I put what I did in my budget.
Yeah.
And you'll see why in a minute. So, but this is something that we try to adhere to, but the statute does not say, or the ordinance or whatever it is, does not say every trial has to be done, but that's the way it's interpreted. And let me know if I said anything that's incorrect.
Nope, that's all correct.
Is this a county statute or
It's supposed to be a statewide thing,
Okay.
but frankly, when I talk to my colleagues across the state, the 82 of them, nobody does this
Wow.
anywhere else
Okay.
but in Wayne County. The county that has the most cases.
Wow.
It's not hard when you're from an upper peninsula or a smaller county. You may
Sure.
have 2 homicides a year, if that.
Right.
So again, we are the ones that are the ones that have to deal with this. So we just wanted you to get a flavor of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
You got to speed up the pace a little bit. Okay.
Just so this next slide indicates the duties of our APAs, the individuals who are in the courtrooms every day. They have to, before court, they have to review the files. We charge them to contact victims. Our victims are very important to us. We want to know what their goals of prosecution are. So we make sure that our APAs talk to them before to introduce themselves, let them know what the process looks like in conjunction with our victims advocates to get the victims on board with what we're doing. The APAs have to review body-worn camera. They can't go to trial if they don't know what discovery requires, what the defense knows. We as you know, we have to turn over everything we have to the defense, and we have to review those body cameras because the defense reviews them. So we want to know our cases backwards and forwards. They have motions that they have to do, motions to quash, different motions that the defense brings, motions that we bring. They have to appear for all of the hearings, from the arraignment on information all the way through trial, through sentencing. So our individual APAs have a ton of work to do.
So we can send you a copy of the PowerPoint. So that's just a small matter.
Yeah, matter. They send subpoenas, they score guidelines. Guidelines in themselves are quite a time-consuming thing for them to cover. They have to get their witness lists out. They have to file them with the court. They have to share them with the defense. Formulate plea offers. As I mentioned earlier, the docket attorneys, we do the actual offers. However, our APAs, individual APAs, we are heavily charged to come to us with their opinions as to what they believe is a fair resolution to the case, and we take their opinions into consideration when we do a final offer on the case. They have to prepare for trial. They have to put together a trial binder. They have to do really a deep dive in the case, studying all the evidence and coming up with all of not only their trial strategies, but they have to anticipate the defense's trial strategy. So there's a lot that goes into what our individual APAs have to do in every courtroom every day. They appear for expungements. They help with the look at the file and determine if there's any other evidence that they would need to request from the individual police agencies to go out and do more work, so to speak. Before trial, they have to do their demonstrative exhibits. They do probation violation hearings. And they, as I said, they coordinate with our victims advocates to make sure that their victims know when to come to court, what's required of them. We talk to them before the trial, so there's no surprises, so to speak. Anything you want to add?
So before, when we had paper files that we had about 27 pages in them, we could have somebody call in sick and we would hand a new prosecutor the file and say, okay, you need to read fast and walk slow. You're doing this trial today.
That's literally how it happened. You come in the morning, when I was an assistant, had to see a file you've never seen before, you haven't talked to, they hand you the file, walk as slow as you can to court and read the file as fast as you can.
Oh, goodness.
So we
Not the way it should be.
Right.
we cannot do that anymore with the volume of evidence that we have. We can go through this one pretty quick. So right now we have cell phone extractions, not only on the homicides, but on some of our cases as well. Those cell phone extractions themselves are so big that they require their own hard drive. There's so much information that to sort through. There's also the green light video from all of the different green light video stations. Most of our cases do have green light video evidence that has to be reviewed. There's the body worn camera video evidence. So even looking at the body worn camera, we have to review that for every single case. For this case, this one body worn camera is 1 hour and 11 minutes for one camera on one case. And they're always, the officers are generally out with a partner. So you're talking about a lot of evidence to review just for body worn cameras.
And also, there are other police officers who show up. So
Yeah.
there's minimum two. Sometimes there's several cars and all with body cameras. So you can understand the time commitment that that assistant prosecutor has to do to be prepared.
And for a search warrant execution, there could be 8 or 9 police officers that come.
Wow.
There's also cell phone triangulation evidence if it comes to that. If it's one of the more serious cases and they're trying to track the cell phone or show where a defendant's cell phone would have been at the time of the crime. Jailhouse communications, not only the jail calls, but video chats, anything else that comes out of the jail for a person that's in custody, that can be many, many hours of evidence to review.
And we do not record or look at their communications with their lawyers. I just want to make that clear. We can't do that. And there are signs all over the jail that say you're being recorded.
Sure.
So for our capital case, we had an assault with intent to murder case that involved a shooting right around 4th of July when all the fireworks were going off on the corner block there. So that's what the picture is from. We needed 2 prosecutors to handle that. And even then there was expert witnesses that had to come and testify to that. So before we could even bring the experts in, there had to be a hearing about the expert witness testimony and whether or not that was going to be legitimate evidence. We had witnesses from this block party that we needed to find and interview and talk to and figure out, if anyone else had any other information. We needed to review the medical records from our victim that had been injured. We needed to review both the location where the offense happened and the location where the defendant was ultimately arrested. So you have 2 separate scenes that had to go into reviewing all of those things for one trial.
And just to add that, the medical records that are reviewed, oftentimes there's a few pages, 10, 20, 30 pages. There are a lot of times when they actually have to roll boxes in for our APAs to go through and see what's relevant and what's not for the trial.
So we're also, Prosecutor Worthy talking about APAs having to prep 5 cases for one day. And the court will tell us, well, it's just a CCW case. That's no big deal. Or carrying concealed weapon. How hard can that be? You guys can be ready for those. Well, you're talking about the body worn camera of at least 2 officers on any one of those cases. Most of those CCW cases come as part of a police citizen interaction. So you're talking about sussing out any kind of Fourth Amendment issues that may arise out of the police citizen interaction. So you've got hearings with that, case law associated with that. We have to redact any of the discovery so that if police are investigating someone and they're getting their name, their social security number, their phone number, that all has to be redacted out before we can present it to the jury. Currently, right now, there is a side docket that used to have about 100 pending jury trials in it, not even assigned to those 23 courtrooms, but just sitting there waiting to be reassigned as part of the way that the court has changed the dockets recently. We've gotten that down a little bit, but that's on top of what these 27 APAs are preparing. There's all of these other trials. That's just a CCW trial. So.
And then General Trials Division, as we indicated, our unit is one of the units that trains newer APAs. So half of our assistant prosecutors have 2 years experience or less.
Now, you really need to let that sink in, because we deal with this every day. It is not, things are, and you've experienced this as well. Things are not as they used to be. You walk into a prosecutor's office. When I started, mostly everybody there had 10, 20, 15 years of experience. That's not the case now. Millennials and Gen Z do not tend to stay. They move around a lot. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just this, we have to deal with these generational issues. And so then they're going to talk about the need for training. We're going to speed it up a little bit because I know you want to ask some questions, but we have very few experienced lawyers in general trials just because of the nature of the beast and people moving around.
Yeah. And then with that becomes our need for training. And we conduct trainings ourselves. We have a training division in the office, which is very paramount for our success in our unit.
We have started doing joint trainings with police agencies, Detroit Police Department most often. They also have newer officers that need to practice their testimony. So we have our APAs practice taking testimony and those officers practice giving testimony.
Right.
So we're getting, because we have the number of cases that we do and the inexperienced level of staff that we have, we are getting more dismissals than we would like to see. We're also not able to appeal everything because there's so much going on all at the same time. We are giving better offers than we would like to give in order to just make sure that we get
Translation, we are giving offers we should not be giving, even on serious cases, frankly.
We have new APAs trying to learn how to develop their cases, but that end result is they're going to trial not having everything fleshed out like we would want it to be fleshed out. We really want them to have more time to spend with it and to be able to learn about it. We do have a lot of turnover. We do have people getting frustrated because it really is frustrating to be overwhelmed all the time or to feel like you can't do the work that you want to do. So it's affecting morale. We have additional problems with the double booking by the court. We have other prosecutors' offices still coming and poaching our people. So Macomb County takes a lot of our APAs once we get them trained up and put in the investment and the work to get them trained. A lot of them end up going to Macomb County. We just lost another one to Monroe County. So now we've lost a couple in the last year to Monroe County.
Yeah. And that double booking issue is a huge problem with us. You can imagine a newer attorney going to a courtroom and they have 4 or 5 trials scheduled for one day, and the judge says, "Well, they're lower level trials. They're only carrying concealed weapons. You should be able to get those." But what they don't seem to understand is that only one trial can go at a time. However, when you book 4 or 5 trials for one day, that assistant prosecutor has to prepare for all of those trials because they don't really know which one of those trials will go on that day. So it requires them to be prepared and ready for multiple trials, which adds to the frustration, which leads to the turnover.
We really need 2 APAs per courtroom to handle the volume that we have. And we could use just more training. As much training as we can get, we really could use more training.
And I don't know if we have the slide here, but when you talk about 2 APAs a court, it may sound excessive. I hope it doesn't after this presentation. Chicago, Cook County has 3 prosecutors per courtroom. Most of our major American cities have 2 or 3 prosecutors per courtroom that handle the volume. Sometimes we barely have 1. And so I hate to be in a position where you've done it for so long and not the right way, that you can continue to do it for so long and not the right way. But that's the reason for bringing you all the issues about all the new evidence that we have. We didn't even mention social media. And we may get, and I'm not exaggerating, we may get 20 boxes when we're finally able to pry the information away from these tech companies, which is another whole thing. And you can imagine if you have a teenager, they text all the time. So it's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of texts we have to look at. And thousands of boxes of material we have to look at from social media, Instagram, X, TikTok, all of that.
Yeah.
And so that's something we have to look at, even for a so-called simple case. So, yeah, that is their contact information, and we
Okay.
will send you the, I think you were able to get the previous
Yes.
thing really
Yeah,
quickly.
thank you.
We'll do the same today. So we'll take any questions you have, and
Excellent.
then I'll just make some closing remarks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Prosecutor and team. This is always extremely, extremely resourceful to get this information. It just guards us in terms of us having information as we have conversations and go into deliberations around your budget. I do have a couple questions. If you could just let me know who leads the other specialty courts. I know we had Judge Blount for veterans, but the mental health and the diversion, and then also the sobriety court. I know you mentioned that you were putting in your budget about job court, and it sounds like we have a lot of success stories out of that. Do we have as many success stories out of sobriety court? I know there's no new applicants, but is there a need to keep that court going as
There's a
well?
need always to keep treatment courts going.
Okay.
And the court runs except for the jobs court and our diversion program and our other diversion programs I talked about before. They run the sobriety court, they run the mental health court, and they run veterans court. However, we have begged them for years because I signed MOUs with all these people. And the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, there's no prosecutor across the state that gets any money. They get money, but we don't get money. And programs can't run without us. We have to refer the programs. We have to approve the programs because ultimately that's still our responsibility. We're still the gatekeepers to the criminal justice system. It just so happens that we have the philosophy that we want to be able to give people second and sometimes third chances when they have other issues that can be dealt with to keep them from coming back. So we don't fund those. I mean, the county, not through my budget. What we want to do is fund the jobs court. Of course, the diversion programs are already funded with the personnel that we have. And then we have the other diversion programs as well. So I don't know who does the mental health court now. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm not.
Okay.
Okay.
We can get that information to you.
Sure.
And then two more really quick.
Yes.
How many people are we turning away by not having the job court in place right now? And then finally, what's the cost of the needs? So the needs slide, there was more training and there were 2 APAs per room, and you don't have to have it now, but we would like to know what
Yeah.
that
Oh, I
cost
can
is.
get that's it will be in my budget presentation, and if you give me more than 10 minutes this year.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan already said he's going to cut me off, but anyway, it's but I can get you all those numbers.
Okay.
And it's basically personnel related.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we can get you all
personnel.
those numbers. Yeah.
Thank you. Finally,
yeah.
who is there not a department, or I guess I'm gonna know the answer to this before I even ask it, but I will mention it. There are several municipalities that have teams, all they do is social media. Right. So they go through that so that professionals in other spaces aren't being pulled to have to go through social media, because that's a really big, huge, and we mentioned around all the different social media platforms, but we don't have anybody who is strictly tied to just social media unpacking as it relates to cases. Is that correct?
No, well, we have our IT team, but we don't have anybody that's specifically designed to do that.
Okay.
However, you have ventured into another thing
It
to
is.
put in my budget.
I'm telling you, so many
you have, yeah. So there's two ways to answer that. I do have a director of communications. We probably need a team of 5. We have one lawyer, and we have she has an assistant who is well versed in that. And one of the things we're trying to do right now is expand that. And we've been doing a lot more videos. And the reason why we're doing things like that is to educate people about the criminal justice system, because there is so much misinformation out here about the system and what prosecutors do. Some people, they have from watching a 44-minute legal procedural show on TV, they think that's what happened. But you can see, you can see that that's not clear. And I think I've said it once before. You have 2 detectives that go out when a homicide happens in New York City, and then they go to the medical examiner 5 minutes later, and they say, "Is the DNA ready?" And say, "Yeah, the DNA is ready. The DNA is ready in 5 minutes." And then not only does the DNA pop up on the screen, but the picture of the guy, the DNA could, well, that it's not real life.
Yeah.
So that's nice drama. That's great. These shows are great. I watch them. But again, it's not reality. And so that's one of the reasons why we're here, to show you what reality is and how much time it really takes to put cases together. And so those are the things we've been trying to do as an office. But in terms of going through social media, if that's what you're talking about, then no, that falls to the trial prosecutor. Yeah.
It'd be good to even know how many hours are put just in that space to help support the conversation around there needing to be dedicated staff.
We do have great support. Chris is here from our litigation technology unit, and he does more than assist us here. They do a ton of work to assist assistant prosecutors, and a lot of it has to do with social media and trial presentation and digital evidence. And my APAs are always in their office asking for something. And so very talented group of people that are assisting us there. So in that space, yes, but that's mainly for trial prep and things that happen internally. But the last thing I wanted to mention is Mark Hindeling, who's our IT, is our chief of IT and information technology and everything else that Chris and his unit does. And he came up with an idea this year that I thought was a wonderful, innovative idea. So much gets lost in the translation when we're trying to service our constituents and we're trying to service what happens in the courtroom. So we are asking this year it's a pilot program. So we didn't ask for it for every courtroom, for a limited number of people. We don't really have a name for them, but what they would do is they'd be in the courtroom for every trial, assisting the data, getting the information, inputting it into our digital system, doing all the things that APA spend a ton of time doing when they really need to be concentrating on preparing their trials. So you will see that in our budget presentation this year that will assist with all of that. And because we want our digital system to be accurate, and oftentimes it's not blaming anyone, but we have different people inputting information into the same system from the clerk's office to our office. A lot of the information is not correct. The information that you'll see from the state court administrator's office, for example, is not accurate as to the work that we do. So this is our attempt to try to figure out a way to be not only transparent, but try to figure out a way that we can have accurate data. And that enables us to know what we need and what we need to do to improve our other activities that we do. So I don't want to call them data entry because that somehow diminishes what they're doing, but a data expert that will sit in a limited number of courtrooms so we can see how this works, to have accurate data so we can better try our cases, get better results, bring justice, because sometimes justice is not a conviction. Sometimes justice looks like something else, a diversion, whatever. And so we want to be able to be accurate. We want to be able to tell the public, this is what we're doing. This is why I tell you, this is why we need what we need. This is the data that supports that. I know Commissioner Dobb, you're a big data person, but that's our attempt on an everyday basis to have them do it, not a prosecutor that's working on 5 different cases trying to put in the right data, but have someone there in the courtroom to do it. And so that's another thing. I don't think it's going to cost that much money. I'm not sure where we're going to find these people, but we'll figure it out like the way we figure everything else. And I know we'll be successful at it. And when it is successful, we'll want one for every courtroom or 2. So that will help us with that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. Thank you, Commissioner. Any additional questions from commissioners on this item? Well, I will let you, if you have any wrapping up statements, Madam Prosecutor.
I think I've kind of interspersed along the way, but I hope that this is giving you a good understanding about how hard my chief and deputy chief work to get all this information out to people, and how hard we try for these thousands of cases we do just in this division. And these are not the homicides, these are not the armed robberies, the child abuse, the domestic violence, but these cases are just as important. Just to end my comments, Judge Geraldine Ford, who I'm sure you all heard of years ago when I was a baby prosecutor, told me, try every case, and I tried probably 300 or 400 jury trials and thousands of waiver trials when I was an assistant. And she said, try every single case as if it's the most important case you ever tried, whether it's a CCW or a homicide or anything else, because it's that important to that victim. When that victim's house was broken into, when their car was stolen, when someone was selling drugs on their property, when they had guns, when they were shooting at our children, that case is extremely important to that particular person. And so that's the way you try a case. So that's the way we try to approach all of our cases. So it's just this case. It's just this kind of case. No, it's important to, I don't know if you've ever been a crime victim. If you ever have, whatever happens to you, your car is stolen, your purse is snatched, you are sexually assaulted, whatever, that case is important to you and your family and your mental health and everything else that goes along with it. So we really want to do the best we can, along with my staff, my investigators, my victim advocates, to bring justice to whoever we are prosecuting. And quite frankly, don't get a lawyer started. Quite frankly, when a defendant, we're also tasked with the responsibility of making sure every defendant has due process.
Sure.
So that's also our task. And I just want to, when we talk about money, the state funds the defense millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. And a couple of years ago, I don't know the numbers for this year, they funded the defense to the tune of almost $300 million. Prosecutors across the state, not just Wayne County, prosecutors across the state got $39 million to their $300 million. And what's important about that is they don't see every case that we see. We are brought these cases. We only issue on average about 2/3 of the cases that the police departments bring to us. That means 1/3 of the cases we do not issue that take more time to do than the ones that we issue, they do not see. So they only see what we issue, not all the other work that we do, and it's not just trial work. So if you think about that, when I come to you and I ask for what I'm asking for, I don't think I've ever come to you ever. And I've learned my lesson through the years, and I still don't. Kim, ask for more than you need. No, I'm going to ask for what I need because that's my reputation. That's my office's reputation. I want to be transparent. I want to be fair. And I want to be honest with you, my funding authority, when I come to you saying this is what I need. I'm never coming to you saying this is what I want. I'm coming to you to say this is the bare minimum of what we need to do our jobs properly.
Yes,
you.
thank you, Madam Prosecutor, and thank you to your team in giving us a glimpse into this just small portion of what you all do. Yeah, so I want to thank you all, and we appreciate and welcome you all the time here at the
Appreciate your
committee.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us this morning.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I'm not aware of any. Next item, please.
G, public comments.
Okay, we are now at the public comments portion of our committee meeting. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to make public comment to the committee today? Please unmute and do so at this time. All right, any emails received?
No emails received.
If there's anyone in the chamber who would like to make public comment to the committee today, please join us at the table and make public comment at this time. Welcome. Please turn on the microphones and state your names for the record.
Good afternoon, or
Yes, it is afternoon.
it is afternoon. Good afternoon, Ebony McCann, Department Director, Transition Services. I wanted to circle back to number 5 and allow Mr. Harris the opportunity to introduce himself as his reappointment to the Community Corrections Advisory Board was presented earlier.
Sure. Welcome, Mr. Harris.
Good afternoon, committee. Super excited to be here. Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. Super excited to be here. For the past 15 years, I've committed myself in the city of Detroit to getting our residents healthy via owning Jab's Gym, Easter Market, that business, in addition to a few other businesses that are all dedicated around health and fitness and or hospitality. I'm an alumni from Wayne State University, where I play football, and a member of Kappa Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and super excited to be here and very enthusiastic about the work that happens in this room.
Excellent and welcome. And we appreciate you joining us today. Any questions or comments from commissioners? All right. All right, Commissioner Wilson.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional public comments from members of the public in the chamber today? All right, going once, twice. Public comments are now closed. Next item, please.
Adjournment.
All right, we have a motion for adjournment for Commissioner Peterson Mayberry, supported by Commissioner Wilson.